Hello, and welcome to Piano Player Pro, your favourite classical tunes arranged for piano. Today we're going to be playing Flight of the Bumblebee by Rimsky-Korsakov. Rimsky-Korsakov was one of a famous group of 19th century Russian composers called the Mighty Handful, which also included the likes of Borodin and Mussorgsky. This is by far Rimsky-Korsakov's most famous tune. It was originally written as an orchestral interlude from his opera The Tale of the Tsar Sultan, during which the Tsar's son, Prince Gvidon, is turned into a bumblebee by a magical swan so that he can be reunited with his father, who believes him to be dead. It was famously transcribed for piano by fellow Russian composer Rachmaninoff, and since then, due to its sheer speed and complexity, virtuoso players of probably every instrument have attempted to play it, usually as fast as possible, although the best performances are never just about speed alone. If you haven't already, then follow the link below and head over to the website pianoplayerpro.com, where you can find the sheet music, which is free to download, and while you're there, make sure you check out the other pieces that you can learn. I'm regularly adding new pieces and content, so if you find this video helpful, then please hit the subscribe button below. In total, there are 4 piano arrangements of Flight of the Bumblebee for you to choose from, starting with level 1 for just the right hand and getting progressively more difficult all the way up to level 4. This video is for the level 4 version, but feel free to take a look at the others. So we're going to start by playing the piece all the way through once, and then we're going to go back and look at it section by section. So here we go, Flight of the Bumblebee. Okay, so that's the whole piece. Pretty tricky, and obviously it depends how fast you take it. That's kind of moderate tempo, and there are people who play it a whole lot faster. But obviously, to learn it fast, you need to start by looking at it really slowly. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go by section at a time, and then we'll work out how to put it all back together. The 2 things really that are going to help you through this piece, firstly, as I said, is playing it and practicing it really slowly, really drilling those different kind of finger patterns and learning them. The second thing is being really clear about which fingers you're using where. So if you use the same pattern of fingers every time you play it, then that's going to make it much easier to learn. Looking at the A section, I'm going to ignore the left hand for the moment. It just plays these chords. We'll put those back in. But the right hand part starts with this kind of chromatic scale. Most of the piece is based around the chromatic scale. And it's... So that's what you've got to learn. When you're playing the chromatic scale, using all the notes, all the white notes, the standard practice, and it might be worth you doing a few of these, start on E, and the idea is that you always put the 3rd finger, the middle finger, on the black notes, and then either the thumb on the white notes, so, but then if there's 2 white notes in a row, use your thumb and the 2. So if you were starting on E, you'd go thumb, 2, 3, thumb 3, thumb 3, thumb 2, 3, thumb 3, and you keep doing that. So most of the fingering that I've used in the actual music is based on that kind of pattern. That said, we start on a 4, right at the top of the keyboard. This is middle C here. I've kind of shifted the piano along because so much of the action takes place up here. So here's middle C, here's the next C above that, here's C above the stave. So this is E that we're starting on. You're going to go with 4, and the fingering is 4, 3, 4, 3. Okay, and then you're going to put your thumb on the D. Okay, so 4, 3, 4, 3, thumb, then... So that's the pattern. That one, then back onto your 3 and your 4, and then going down with a normal chromatic scale pattern, mostly 1 and 3. So practice that a few times. And then you do the same thing, except instead of starting on 4 and jumping to 4, you put the thumb, then the middle finger over, and then you skip back to your 4. So that pattern again, 4, 3, 4, 3, thumb, 3, 4, 3, then a normal pattern, thumb, 3, 4, 3, thumb, 3, 4, 3. And then you get to the E just above middle C. And then you're just going down, so you can just use this 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. And you do that twice, down to C. So the whole thing is... That's the introduction. As I said, the left hand is just playing these chords, so it starts noting the treble clef with your little finger on E, E, G sharp and D. It's a bit of a stretch, and then you've got to move down and play this exactly the same chord but an octave lower here. And then it's nice and short. And the only challenge there really is particularly that you've got to move that whilst concentrating furiously on what the right hand's doing. So together it should be this. That's the introduction, or the A section. One thing just to think about when you play the left hand part, if you just move it nice and early, so rather than doing this and then trying to move it quickly, move it as soon as you've played it. So and then you've got a bit of time to kind of adjust it as you go. So that's the A section. The B section is where the main kind of tune starts. Again, we're going to look at the right hand first. So we've just done this. And the pattern is this. So the pattern starts on 4. So you go down again from the E to the C, up to the F, and then back onto the 4. So again, the fingering is a bit awkward. 4, 3, thumb, 3, thumb, up to 4. And then back to the 4. So some kind of pattern around like that. There's different ways of doing it. I've put a suggestion in the music. You can kind of adapt it, but the key is to always use the same fingering. So if you don't like what I've suggested, then change it, but write it in the music. So you always play it the same. So once you've learnt that pattern, you play it twice. Okay, so you just do that twice in a row. And then you've got this pattern, which is just the E and the D sharp, then the D and the C sharp. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then the opposite pattern, so going on the lower white note, going up on the black note, D to E flat. So you've just done, let me put those two bars together. Okay, so running without gaps. And then you just do the same thing as you did before, which is starting on the E, going down to the C and back up. Okay, I'm going to leave the last notes for the moment underneath there or by the hairpin, just because we'll show how that links back in a minute. But let's go from the beginning of the B section. So we're starting here. Okay, so that's the main kind of theme. Once you've done that last little bit, you go straight down to the D and then do a chromatic scale straight up to the A, which is where the C section starts. So D, and that brings you at the beginning of the next bar and the next section starting on the A. So look at that last little bit again. But you want no gap at all. So instead of that, straight through without a gap, and then landing on the A. So that's how the right hand goes. The left hand starts with this low chord. You've got your A, and then your C and your E, and then you jump up quite a long way to middle C. And again, these are all very short. You've got plenty of time. 2. And you always go back to that chord, then the F, the E, the D, the C, the F and the E, and that stops. Okay, so that's how that little pattern fits together. Let's put the two hands together at the same time, which is always obviously the challenge. So, and then jumping up, and then you land back there there. So each time you come to the E, you're going back to that chord. Jumping up. And then back to that chord for the third time. When you get to there, so for the third time, that's when you put in this little pattern. And here you've got to work hard to coordinate the hands. There is a little kind of relationship between them. They play kind of a sixth apart. It's called a sixth because that's on the F, that's on the D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a sixth. That's a sixth. And then so they kind of go in parallel. Then in opposite directions. Okay. And then so just look at that a little bit again. So there. Opposite directions again, up to the F and stop on the E's, except the right hand then has to carry on with that link and the left hand's then going to drop to that chord in the C section. So watch that again. And there's the beginning of the C section. So it's a lot to kind of work out. I say the trick is to do it really slowly, really take your time with it, and then you can put it back together again and then speed it up. So let's just do the whole of the B section, again, not too quickly. So we're starting here. And then it takes us into the C section. Now, when you get to the C section, the good news is that there's a very strong relationship between the B section that you've just played and the C section. So the B section was down here. If you shift everything up here, it's exactly the same. So if you listen to it, it sounds the same. Until at least you get there, which is just before the link to the D section. The only main change, other than the fact that you've shifted both hands up, is that you've got this B flat. So the right hand part, when you go up here, remember it was this onto the white note there. Here, the semitone above is the black note, which is the B flat. That's what makes the fingering a little bit more awkward. But it's exactly the same principle. And then you get this pattern again, exactly the same shape. And then down and up. And then that begins the bar before D, and then you've just got this link, which is just do the A and the G sharp over and over again. And then through the B flat to the B, which is the note that you start the D section on. So the link goes like this. And that's your D section. Okay, so just watch the right hand again. Okay, and you see you've got that nice swell which you can create that effect. Good, so that's how the right hand goes. The left hand, so you were on that chord in the B section, you're now on this chord, D, F, A. And you jump up to here. So it's exactly the same leap. Again, it's a bit slow. Back to there for a third time. But then when you go up to this note, again, it's the B flat. So before it was the F, so the white note, now it's the B flat, so the black note. So, and again, the left hand stops for that link bar, and the right hand carries on by itself. So those two parts together, let's do it nice and slowly. All the way up to the F in the left hand. Your D section. Okay, so let me just put the B section and the C section together just so you can see how those flow through. It goes something like this. So this is the B section. The D section. So you see there is definitely a pattern, and the pattern is quite predictable once you've learnt the pattern. So if you can learn the pattern, that helps you memorise the tune and then learn how to play it. So the key really is going to be the correct fingering, because then your brain learns that pattern much, much more quickly. So we've got to the B section, the D section. The D section is quite fun. So you've got these kind of offset notes. So you've got to practice this technique. I'm going to actually put the two hands together. Usually I do the right hand and then the left hand and then together. But I'm actually going to start with them together because they kind of play off each other. So the first bar of the D section is a B here and a B here, and they alternate. So it goes right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And at the speed you're going to go at, you can't really practice it separately, because otherwise the left hand would be 1, 2, 3, 4, which is really difficult to kind of think. You need to kind of play off the right hand and get that kind of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, yeah, da, 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 da. And together it's not actually that difficult. So you do that, and then I'm going to use my thumb there, because I'm going to then go to the B flat and the C. So I go out from the B to the B flat and the C, and then the left hand jumps up to the B that the right hand has just been playing. So it was there and the left hand was there, the right hand then goes to there and the left hand jumps into the gap, and you do the same rhythm, da 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 da, right, left, right, left, right, left. Okay, so together it sounds like this is bar 1 and 2. So you get this kind of quite kind of buzzy sound, which is obviously the effect that is being created. So you do that once, then you repeat it a second time, then you do the same idea, but instead of doing 4 on each, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you just do 2 on each, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you stay on this version, 1, 2, 3, 4 for another 4, and then you do all on the B, but both playing the same note. You've got to be quite careful to get out of the way of each other. So don't hold that down, because otherwise the left hand can't play. So it's got to be really quite short and staccato. You'll see I've marked accents. That's the bar before E. B, 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 B. So let's look at the whole D section. Once you've kind of got your head around the pattern, it's not so difficult. Then faster, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Stay on that chord, B, 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 B. Okay, and that's how the D section goes. So a little bit up faster. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Stay up there, all on B. Okay, and come off nice and short. And then the E section, you do exactly the same thing, but instead of doing it around B and those chords, you do it up here on E. And then the same thing, so the left hand is going to jump really very high, all the way up here to where the right hand is. So same pattern, 4 of those, and then the E moves in the right hand, you move to those 2 notes either side of E, and the left hand jumps into where the right hand was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 2s, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you do another 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you've just got the last bar to do, which starts with an E. So let's hear the E section up to there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, then 2s, 1, 2, 1, 2, stay on the F, and then you've just got the last bar. And the last bar goes like this. You play the E there, then in octaves, but the right hand moves all the way up here. So I'm just going to go off the end of your piano. It's going to go E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And the left hand does the same thing, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. So, and it's just a flick really. You'll notice it's actually getting quieter. So you've had this big, big kind of clashy build up, and then it's this kind of cheeky ending. Okay, and then just put a button on the end, it's called a button, and you go down to the low A's. You've got to really jump down, and it's got to be really careful, because you want to hit that A on. After doing all that work, it's a real shame if you do this great performance and then you go and miss it. So just be careful how you place it. Just practice that kind of effect over and over, and practice the last couple of bars. That's the bit to practice, so you get that as accurate as possible. So I'm going to play you the D and E section, just so you see how they kind of relate to each other. So here's the D section. Then 2s. Stay on the C, all on the B, then move to the E's. Another 4, move to the 2s, stay on the F, and that's the end. So that's how the whole piece goes, and we'll play the whole thing through once more for you. Just notice the dynamics. The dynamics are quite important in this piece, particularly obviously it starts loud and then gradually gets quieter through the introduction. Then the B section, which is the beginning of the main tune, is quiet. And then it gradually builds, so the C section's a bit louder. And when you get to the D section, you've got these kind of this buzzy effect. So you get these notes, and it kind of swells over the Bs, loud, back down, swells. And then when you get the 2s, that swell is shorter 1. Okay, so look out for the dynamics and try to put those in. But this is the whole piece all the way through. I'm going to go a little bit quicker for the final performance. So here we go. So that was the level 4 version of Rimsky-Korsakov's Flight of the Bumblebee. Thanks for watching, I hope you found it helpful. If you have, then please hit the subscribe button below, as there's new pieces for you to learn coming out all the time. And remember, the music for all of them is free to download from the website pianoplayerpro.com. If you've got any questions or requests for future pieces, then do get in touch via the comments section below. Have a great day then, and happy practicing.